Hello and welcome to episode 26 of the Bad Psychics podcast. This episode, we are focusing on making some predictions for the upcoming season of Dancing with the Stars. Obviously, if you saw our Strictly episode, we said that we would be doing an American one to even the playing fields. As always, I am joined by a trio of idiots. And this week, I predict he's most likely to think that Gene Simmons wasn't biased enough against the men. It's Jeter. Uh, I.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I predict he's most likely to view Anna Delvey's facial expressions as just completely over the top. It's Dizzy.
Okay.
And I predict she's most likely to end up on Dancing with the Stars for similar reasons to Carol Baskin. It's Cass.
Oh my god.
That's what I have to say
How
about
is mine the kindest of the three?
that. That never happens.
Yeah. How are we all?
Good. Enjoying Take 5.
You didn't need to. You didn't need to tell them that. Dizzy.
I felt like you got to attack all of us. I had to point out your competence in return.
Yeah. Fair. Dizzy, you well?
Yeah. I'm all good.
Excellent.
A
Cass.
number of my life that will never come back.
Cass, you alright?
I'm good. Look, my pinky, I have the stitches out. It looks good. So, yay.
I mean, I'm pretty confident that your pinky was never mentioned on a previous episode, so that's going to
It
really
wasn't.
confuse.
No,
It's just like,
that was the whole point. That
Yeah.
was the whole point. Is
Okay.
that a lot of life has happened since the last time I was on here.
okay, gotcha.
My pinky.
Excellent. I mean, obviously this is going to run very similarly to how we did the Strictly episode. I mean, Cass, what do you think of the overall cast this season?
I actually think I'm actually really excited about a lot of the cast members. There's a couple of major 90s like stands from there, like from my childhood. There's a couple of reality stars that seem like they might be surprisingly good.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of those reality stars are from my home community, so that is going to be really fun. Um, so I'm excited overall, though. I think it's gonna be a lot of good dancing this season, actually.
Fair. Jeter, what jumps out from you with the celebrities and their pairings?
It's an interesting collection. I think that some of the front runners from last season were slated to get trickier pairings this year, I'd say on the whole. I think the one kind of boot to that is Brandon with Lauren. But from the rumors that are being swirled, or from the rumors that are swirling, that was not his original partnership, and he was supposed to have, oh, I'm forgetting her name, but Bill Belichick's girlfriend, which would have been a very controversial selection. So I think it's interesting that the three, or three of the main performers in Jenna and Brandon and Alan, who kind of went very far, all have tougher partnerships as opposed to people who might be favorites to win.
Fair enough. And Dizzy, how do you feel that this cast translates for like an international audience? Did you feel like you recognized plenty of it?
Well, I knew 8 of them. I did need to kind of go through. And maybe a couple of them I didn't know by name, but then I recognized them. But
Mhm.
and then a few of them I knew the name and I wouldn't have knew what they looked like. But I think compared to last year, where it felt like I barely really knew anyone,
Mm-hmm.
I was pleasantly surprised when I looked and I said, "Oh, I actually know quite a few of these."
Yeah.
Considering, well, I'm not American for starters, and like if you compare it to the Strictly cast
Mm-hmm.
and the two Americans here, they're struggling to really know anyone. So I think that in itself maybe tells you that the Dancing with the Stars cast is probably stronger.
It
Perfect.
helps that Dizzy's a noted fan of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
uh,
No clue who they are.
all right, let's switch to our spreadsheet and a whole. So as I said, very similar to our Strictly episode, we are going to try and guess the placements, and then we've got a few miscellaneous ones as well. Slight difference in that Dancing with the Stars announced their pairings like when they reveal the cast. So we're not guessing who the partnerships are, we are just placing them in order. Okay, so let's find out who we think is coming in last place this season. We have. Okay, we've got two pairs. We've got two Corey and Jennas and two Andy and Emmas. I mean, I'll start on the Corey and Jenna. I also know that Jeter, because we've spoken about it, has some thoughts on that one. For me, it was very easy to put Corey last because he did a very similar British show in about 2012 called Dancing on Ice, which is basically the same, just, ice dance instead of, normal dance. And he was frankly abysmal. On one of his dances, he scored 8 out of 30. I don't expect him to be very good. Jeter, I'll also let you share what you have heard on the grapevine.
Yeah, I keep up with a lot of the pros on social media. Obviously, in the modern day, Dancing with the Stars is huge on TikTok. And the rumor has it that after GMA, when they all got announced, up until like at least a few days ago, Corey and Jenna had not had a rehearsal. So they'd gone like a week or two without a rehearsal after GMA. And as someone who's a little bit older in the cast, you're already putting yourself on the back foot. I'm not sure whether episode 1 will be elimination. I think historically it isn't, but I think they combine the scores from the first 2 episodes. So even if you're, one bad dance in one episode could be enough to get you home.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be tricky if he hasn't had the time to rehearse that others have had. It can get really tricky really quick.
Very fair. Cass, you've gone for Andy and Emma bottom. Any particular reason?
It just seems like he's older and he's larger. I just think that like with the combination, I think on their own, either of those two factors wouldn't be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think together, I think that that's gonna definitely prove to be a problem for him. So, uh, yeah.
Makes sense. And Dizzy, what about you?
It's kind of for similar reasons. I mean, when you reveal 13th, you'll put it this way, my bottom two, it felt quite obvious for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought maybe more people might vote for Corey Feldman because it might be funnier. I don't know. It's hard to know what the American public might think.
Fair.
But I don't think either pair will be good.
I
Put it
mean,
that way.
yeah, it's reasonable. Let's move on to 13th then. Is it just the reverse? No, not quite. Okay, well, I will say, from my point of view, Andy and Emma, reason I put them above Corey and Jenna is I think with Andy being a comedian, I could at least see him being funny bad rather than just bad bad. And I think funny bad tends to have the edge over bad bad. But I do agree that Corey might have a larger voting public, so I don't know. Cass, you've gone Corey and Jenna for 13th. Anything we haven't already touched on?
No, he just doesn't seem like, first of all, like anybody in America who like knows more about Corey, dude gives me the ick so bad. He is so gross. And so I think that's probably going to work against him. But also like I do think that he might have like he might be a little bit more well known.
Okay.
And so I think that will take him up, but again, like notoriety can only get you so far when you can't dance.
Yeah,
So
very reasonable.
I
Does
also think that like possibly the running order might have an impact on it as well. And I
Yeah.
don't know if we know the running order yet.
Don't believe so.
So I mean, that could
Um,
have an impact.
I don't know what order they're going in. Most of the dances have been announced, but I realize I was about to say they do, but it's in alphabetical order, so that's not helpful.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I think they'll leave it for them to have rehearsed more because they'll want to like have someone good at the start, someone good at the end, etc. Jeeta, you have gone for our first mention of Danielle Fishel and Pasha Pashkov. Why is Danielle so low for you?
So some of my rankings they're based on a couple things. Firstly, I think it's generally the teams that are being really active on socials. It's easier to see what their dancing ability will be. This one was trickier to judge, because neither of them have really been posting much about what their rehearsals look like compared to some of the other couples. And I think part of my decision is that I think, especially early on, we saw this last season a lot with Reggie, and it was especially with Reggie. But like, I think that there can be people that the American voter base latches onto. And we're not exactly sure how it gets decided, if it's 50-50 judges and public or how it works, but it seemed like the public had a pretty meaningful sway last season with some of the people who went home early. And I think Emma is like a wonderful, delightful human being who has the ability to really cultivate relationships with her partner and the public. So I didn't feel like I could put Andy and Emma this low, even if I think that they might be worse dancers. And just as I was kind of going through the list, it was like, I think I was just a little bit higher than Andy and Emma than you guys were, and my list just kind of slid other people down accordingly. This is less of a comment on Danielle and Tasha and more just comments on how I think other people might be able to connect with the public a little bit better.
Okay, perfect. Let's move then on to 12th. And what have we got? We've not got much of a mix. I mean, let's start with Cass, because Cass is the odd one out here. Cass, you've gone for Baron and Britt. Why have you got them in 12th?
mostly because like I feel like he's gonna be towards the back. This is kind of where like my bottom two were pretty decided. And like my top three were pretty decided. Everywhere else is like I think Baron's gonna be towards the back, and he just doesn't seem a lot of like the sport players, like they tend to be a little bit more stiff in their movements, and with his size, and I haven't seen anything from him on social media, so I don't know, but I feel like he's going to be towards the back. He may not be as low as 12th, but like I do feel like he's going to be towards the back.
Makes sense. Dizzy, Hilaria, and Gleb.
I wasn't sure. I kind of just like she's one of the ones where I didn't know who she is. I'll be blunt.
Lucky.
And I kind of thought my logic was when I looked into who she is, I was thinking I'm not sure who is voting for her over other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of my thoughts. I just feel like she's going to end up being an early exit.
Fair enough.
She might be good. She might be good, but it might still not really do enough.
No, makes absolute sense. Jeeta, same for you.
Yeah, this one was really tricky. I think you guys said it, but Hilaria Baldwin did ballroom in college. She has ability, and she's, when I think of like the older age group of pros that or of celebrities that kind of come onto the show, um, I don't think Hilaria is as old as some of the older people that have come onto the show. So I think that she could do something. Part of my ranking being low is also that I think people are going to be refusing to vote for Gleb as a result of all of the controversy that's been surrounding him. I don't think that there will be people that want to vote for them. And I think at a certain point, if you have significant head streams, which was what happened last year with Brooks and Gleb, if you have significant people who are not willing to vote for you or who are actively voting against you, it gets really tough unless you're a very good dancer. And it's really hard to be that good of a dancer when you're just that much older than the people you're competing against.
Yeah, I mean, for me, similar to what everyone else has touched on, I think I don't think Hilaria is going to be very popular as well. Obviously, all the controversy with her husband Alec Baldwin and the um death on one of his sets, then them filming a reality TV show family style, which was kind of viewed pretty negatively. Like, I just feel like this is a partnership of two people who are not very popular right now. So I think even if they dance really well, they could be struggling. Right, let's move on to 11th place. Do we have anything different? Okay, so for the first time, we've all got very different answers. I mean, I've gone for Baron and Britt. Very similar to Cass. I don't get the impression that he's going to have the freest of movement. Like, he may well have some rhythm, but looks a little bit stiff to me, but time will tell. Jeeta, you've gone for Andy and Emma here. It's the highest anyone's got Andy and Emma. Any logic beyond what you said already?
No. Emma's just a delightful person, and I think more than any other pro, I think she's the best at taking a celebrity and selling a story and like connecting you with the celebrity. And I think Andy as a comedian is going to be very good at selling that. It wouldn't surprise me if he has even like remotely solid dance moves for him to make it another couple weeks. Like if he has some real rhythm, we don't know.
Yeah.
I think the thing that gets tricky is some of the dance styles you need to be able to move in a way that he might not be able to, which is why I stuck it in the middle, because her abilities to storytell, if Andy can really dance, he'll be up another 4 or 5 spots. But I decided to hedge my bets. And this kind of felt like the right spot for this to land.
Perfect. Cass, you've gone Hilaria and Gleb, and anything beyond what we've already mentioned?
Yeah, no, just not a very likable pairing, and yeah, like they're gonna be at the back 100%.
Okay. And then Dizzy, you've given us our first mention of Scott and Riley. Why have you got Scott that low?
I don't know. I think I was putting pairs and then it kind of just ended up there.
Okay, so
It was one of those where I didn't know where to put them, and that was the free spot. I
okay.
think was what ended up happening, to be honest.
No, it's fair
The
enough.
problem is when it's people you don't know, you end up kind of thinking, oh, well, I'm gonna have to put them somewhere,
Yes.
and I don't know.
No, fair enough. Okay, so on to 10th place now. Let's see what we've got. Do we have anything different? Okay, so I mean, let's start with Dizzy. You've gone Baron and Brett. Any thoughts beyond ones we've already touched on?
No, there's not much else. I thought maybe he might last a few weeks with like a little bit of, a sports person underdog kind of story, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think ability is going to get him that far. But I also don't think, I don't know, I think he'll last a few weeks.
Okay. GT, you've given us our first appearance of Jen and Yan. Why is that?
Yeah, this one's tricky. I think Jen can dance
Mm-hmm.
to a pretty high level. Like, I think that she'll maybe be able to do this at a high level. She is very recently postpartum. Like, very, very, very recently postpartum. And that's going to take a toll on her body at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if she struggles because I think she gave birth 3 months ago, if that. 2
Okay.
months. I think it was early July.
Right.
Like she's still breastfeeding her newborn, you know. So it's like this is a huge physical task for her. I think the further you go, the more her body might be better, or it might not. Like it's just there's so many question marks there. And Jan Yan, I'm not sure, is an impressive choreographer. It's his first season on the show, and I don't know what to expect from him. Um, and you know what you're getting with some of these choreographers. You know that they can win the mirror ball.
Uh-huh.
So I was a little bit worried with this pairing on like I don't want to put them too high and there's a withdrawal, or you put them really high and his choreography isn't up to scratch, or she just physically can't cut it. So this is the one that I'm probably most worried about in my picks.
Okay. And then Cass and I have agreed we've both gone for Danielle and Pasha. Cass, any particular thoughts?
I think Danielle is going to get like into the competition because again, like the 90s nostalgia, like Boy Meets World, that's gonna be big. But I haven't seen much to suggest that like she's got a lot of dancing ability. And like we've said before, like notoriety can only get you so far. I think she's got enough charm that, you know, she'll do better than some of the other people who maybe don't have as much, who aren't as likable. I think she'll be plenty likable. I just don't know that she'll have the ability to back it up to take her further in.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think from my point of view, I'm very unsure as to what her voting public will be, because on one hand, she's arguably one of the more obscure people on this cast, but on the other hand, you could look at it and go, she has a 90s fan base from Boy Meets World, and then she obviously was in Girl Meets World that had Sabrina Carpenter in it. Obviously, Sabrina Carpenter's very of the moment. How much of that potentially do they go, oh, that's, that's her with a younger audience. I don't know. I'm very confused on what to expect. On we go to ninth, however, and okay, interesting. We've got three of the same and then one different. I mean, let's start with the three of the same. I mean, I've gone for Robert Whitney. This is for me the one I am most concerned about, because when I see Robert Irwin, he in and of himself, he doesn't exactly inspire me with confidence for being able to dance. The flip side is his sister won Dancing with the Stars. So is dancing genetic? Does it run in the family? I'm very unsure. I'm very concerned. Dizzy, you've also put Robert and Whitney there. Any particular reason?
Yeah, I'll be honest, it's kind of very similar to you. I kind of wasn't sure, and I kind of thought, well, I'll kind of maybe just put them above the people that either I don't know, or I don't think are going to be that popular, or I don't think they're going to be that good,
Mm-hmm.
and then just put the person where I really, really don't know where that spot lands. It's kind of what's ended up happening, because I didn't know what to expect at all.
Yeah, makes sense. Jeter, anything more on Robert and Whitney?
Yeah, this was another one that I was worried about. I think for many of the same reasons that you all shared. Also, I think it's Whitney is a very impressive choreographer, but I don't know how much storytelling the two of them will be able to do on socials. I think Robert's more of the social media guru than Whitney is, and I think it's unfortunately true that, you know, this show can turn into a bit of a popularity contest that I don't know that they're going to win. Um, and I am worried, as everyone has pointed out. I'm not 100% sure on his ability to dance. I'd love to be proven wrong. He's an awesome personality, and he's talked very publicly about the stuff that his sister's going through medically, and kind of using that as like a galvanizing thing, which is why he wanted to do the show, which is awesome. And I'd be more than happy for him to do better. I just kind of wasn't sure.
Fair enough. And then, Cass, you've given us a first glimpse of Elaine and Alan's names. Why is that?
Mostly because for me, she's a question mark. She's going to be really popular with like the 90s demographic start. Stop it. Cat wants to put a butt in my face. I'm not down for that. But like I don't know how she's gonna do fitness wise. But again, like she's somebody I could be wrong. Like I definitely would not be surprised to see her place higher. So I think she's gonna be somewhere in the middle. I don't think she's gonna be the best, but I don't think she's gonna be like at the bottom. So
Perfect. Right, next we move on to 8th place. Let's see if we've got any consistency here. No, we've got 4 completely different answers. I mean, I will start with Scott and Riley. For me, I'm very, very unsure with Scott. He's another of the wild cards for me. I believe in my research I found out that he has a scoliosis. And as somebody who understands back issues quite well, I can kind of see that would maybe cause him an issue in the competition. The flip side is his work with pentatonics they will have done a fair amount of choreography for stage shows and stuff like that. So I'm very, very confused as to where he might finish, and even have some potential other thoughts that we'll come to later. Cass, you've gone for our second Jen and Yan. Any logic?
No, I mean very, very similar to Jeter's. I just don't think she's gonna do the best. I think, yeah, that postpartum period, which I know better than any of you. I feel like that's safe to say. It's rough. It's rough for a while. I feel like it took me about a year before my body felt normal again. So yeah, like that's gonna definitely be a struggle. So I think she'll go somewhere in the middle because I think she might have some ability in spite of her physical struggles, but like it's still not gonna be easy.
Yeah. It took you a year for your body to get back to normal, and then you decided to do it twice more for some strange reason.
Yeah,
Uh,
beyond me right now.
uh, Dizzy, you have put Daniel and Pasha highest of anyone. What's your reasoning?
It's kind of the same, but part of me was like, there's that little bit of nostalgia in it from her from the Disney Channel, so I've just bumped her up a few spots out of bias more than anything.
Okay, so
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I kind of thought. I mean, but to be fair, I mean, like I'll echo what you say. She might end up having a lot of popularity.
Yeah.
For several different reasons. Not just for the Sabrina Carpenter thing, just from two different Disney generations.
Yeah.
So, because like, yeah, she's more well known than what Chandler was last year.
Yeah.
And I think it's sometimes easy to underestimate how nostalgic people are about Disney now that you get Disney Plus and you can stream it all, you can rewatch it, and people see she's on it and say, "Oh, maybe rewatch Boy Meets World" and stuff like that. So,
I mean, the way you said that it was
what
partially,
did I say?
you said it was partially through bias. Does that mean that you're rooting for Danielle?
No, I think it's like no. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm really rooting for anyone. Well, no, I wouldn't say there's a specific person I'm rooting for, but like of the ones that I feel like I'm biased towards the ones that I know the best,
Okay.
just naturally.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Jeter, you on the other hand have gone for the highest placement of anyone for Baron and Britt.
Yeah. I think they could be a real surprise package. I think he's got personality, especially as an athlete. He's not crazy tall as a basketball player. He's only 6'2" or 6'3", so it's a lot more manageable than Dwight Howard was last year. In terms of frame. Britt is a heck of a choreographer. She is up there as one of the best choreographers on the show, in my opinion. And she hasn't really had a chance to showcase it recently because of who her partnerships have been. So she's been doing a lot of it with she choreographs pretty much every troop dance. At least she did last season, and I think she did the season before. And I think they're going to do some really interesting and innovative stuff. And I'm not 100% sure. But I think for people who do watch the show, this reminds me a lot of Danny and Whitney from last year. And that Danny wasn't Danny Amendola is not a huge sports name. People know who he is, but he's not like some big famous sports player. He's not like a super famous superstar athlete. But athletes are inherently athletic, and they have the ability to do some of these things that, the physical aspect of dancing might not be as much of a concern for him. And he'll be comfortable with footwork and working on footwork, especially as a point guard, because it's such a big part of what he did for his job for 18 years or however long he was in the league. So I could see them do it. I would not be surprised if they do very well this season.
Okay. And then yeah, no, that's everyone for that bit, isn't it? I was trying to think, had I covered everyone? But yes, I have. Right, let's move on to 7th place now. I think we've been doing a pretty good job of being fairly in sync so far. Yeah, that continues. 3 of the same and 1 different. Cass, you're the odd one out. You've gone for Scott and Riley in 7th.
Yeah, it just seems like they've been posting a lot on social media. I've seen them quite a bit, and I think they're an interesting pairing because I think a lot of people were like, "Oh my gosh, like Riley's gonna be so judgmental because she's Mormon and he's gay," and like again, like people who thought that probably haven't met very many Mormons because like she loves him and they're besties. Like they seem like they are getting along fantastically. And I think there's just gonna be such a charm with the two of them from what I've seen of them together. It's gonna be like watching two best friends dance together and they're gonna have a great time. And I think it's gonna make everybody else have a great time. So that's why I placed him higher than like most people have, is just that charm, and he seems like he has decent ability too.
Perfect. And then the rest of us have gone for Elaine and Alan to finish 7th. Jeeta, any particular reason on your end?
Yeah, when I was doing some research, because I didn't know too much about Elaine, but she had been a dancer, stopped it to move to television, but like she's got a bit of a dance background. I adore Alan. I think he's a great choreographer. I think people will be interested in Elaine because of who she is. You know, I think she might have a voting base. And I think that there's a lot of people who love Alan as a result of last year with Alan and Alona. And in the clips that I've seen of them dancing, she looks like she has some real rhythm. So I kind of was looking at this and thought that it could be a surprise package of someone who's maybe not the the oldest of the older group, that kind of makes a real deep run.
Dizzy, anything to add?
No, I mean, yeah, I kind of echo everything there. She's been around in the television scope for a long time, and as they said, she's got previous dance experience, and I thought, I mean, despite her being an older contestant, I still think there might be she might have difficulties with certain dances, but I think it'll stand her quite well overall. And I do think she might not necessarily have the biggest voting base out of everyone, but I think she'll have a solid voting base.
Okay. Yeah, from my perspective, a lot of these, because just to remind with the scoring, you points are bad in this one, and basically you end up getting points for every placement out you are. So if you predict someone to come first and they finish 3rd, that will be 2 points, and again, points are bad. So for me, some of this has been a little bit defensive, and Elaine is the prime example. I've put her in the middle because I truly believe that with a dance background, with a popular partner and Alan, there is a very reasonable chance that she could go all the way. The flip side is she stopped dancing because of an injury she sustained in a car crash. If that was bad enough to end her dancing career, what is to say that some 30 years later she's not going to be even more affected by it now? So I've basically put a slap in the middle because I genuinely believe that any placement is possible, and so I'm just hoping to get as few points as possible from Elaine. Right, let's move on to 6th place. Okay, we've got 3 different answers here. Let's start with Cass, because Cass, you've given us a first mention of Alex and Val. Why did they come 6th for you?
I think Alex is gonna have like a decent like fan base, but I know of a lot of people who wouldn't know who she is. And I think she's gonna be somewhere like towards the middle of the front. Like I think she'll be in the front of the pack, maybe towards the back of it. That was more the logic there. And there were just other people that I saw their popularity and dance moves, like their dancing ability getting them further. So
Okay. Dizzy, you've gone for Jen and Yan.
Yeah, I didn't know because of what they've said before. So, like, her being postpartum, it's kind of a massive question mark for several reasons. Like, you don't know how she can deal with it. You don't, but it could mean that people root for her more as well. I thought I would lean towards more. She's got well, what appears to be the dance ability, and my thinking is that she's entered it with confidence that she feels ready to compete.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Indeed. Jita, you have gone for, like myself, Whitney and Mark. What's you thinking?
Couple thoughts. I think for me, anyone from 6th to 1st on my board can win. This is where I kind of start my okay, I wouldn't be surprised if you won territory. So part of, as you've mentioned, defensive strategy, I'm starting to think about, okay, who do I think is most likely to win versus who do I like, not only who do I think will win, but who's most likely to, or who's maybe in that pack of who could win, maybe likely to have a little bit of a fall off. And I think that the two things that are really hard, first, Whitney, and this is an issue for Jen as well. While Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is it is a fast growing show. It is not enough of an established name to gain that fan base. Like, I think about how Joey had Bachelor Nation voting for him last year. That is a huge fan base that he was pulling from. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is a much smaller show. There will be a lot of people who are watching who go, who is this? So you're really fighting an uphill battle of you need to be a very good dancer. Similarly, I love Mark Ballas. I am very excited to see him back in the ballroom as a pro and not just as a guest judge.
Agreed.
I think that he's been out of it for a little bit though, and I'm not sure that with this new era, I mean, I guess he was most recently doing it with Charlie. So some people will know of who he is because he won with Charlie D'Amelio. But like, I'm not sure of his popularity as a pro compared to some of the people. I mean, the show took off last year, and he wasn't on the show; he was a guest judge. So I don't know that he's going to have the juice as a pro to push his pairing up the leaderboard either. So those were my two hesitations. But like, if Whitney and Mark win, I would not be surprised. I know she has a dance background. She looks like she can dance in all the videos on social that I've seen. I just don't know that the votes are there.
Fair enough. From my perspective, mostly agree with what Gita had to say. I'm not as worried about the Mark element. The thing that Gita didn't mention is, even if the Mormon Wives fan base does end up being quite large, the fact that there's 2 of them potentially dilutes the votes. It could be that people want to vote for one of the wives, and so one of them misses out. For me, from what I've heard, that like Jen tends to be more liked within the show, Whitney a bit more of a villain. That means for me, I think maybe Whitney ends up suffering from that. But we'll see. Okay, on to 5th place now. What do we have? Okay. 4 completely different ones. I have gone for Jordan and Ezra. I think typically across both the UK and US, gymnasts tend to do fairly well. Like there's a fair number of them that have given it a good go. My question is, like, in the era of Simone Biles' obsession, does one of her teammates have quite the same clout? Equally, I loved Ezra last season. I thought he was great, but we don't know the extent of his choreography chops because last year he was with Anna Delvey. So pass. Next up, Cass, you've gone for Lauren and Brandon.
Yes. Mostly because like Jeter said, like this is the realm of like I think that any of these people in this upper range like
Mm-hmm.
could go higher, good, they're gonna be somewhere in there. I don't think they're gonna place much further back, but I could easily see them going forward, mostly because she's like the most recent. I think she found out like 2 days before she was announced. Like it was very, very quick. And so I think if the news hasn't spread enough that she's on the show, like that might help, might not help. And she is a part of a bigger group, but like again,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know who she was for when I initially saw her. So I think she's got a shot. And I do think she could surprise me. Like I think she could easily go higher. I don't think she'll go any lower than that though.
But Dizzy, you've gone for Whitney and Mark. Anything beyond what anyone said about them?
No, I think it's a lot of like I would have, if you hadn't said it, I would have probably also brought up the I was surprised when I looked at the cast and I thought, oh, there's 2 from the Mormon Wives. That did surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was an interesting choice, and I instantly thought, oh, that immediately makes me think there's going to be splitting of votes.
Yeah.
Because people can't vote for them both.
Yeah.
So I've kind of ended up coupling them both in the higher rankings because I think one of them definitely will be. Possibly I'd be surprised if they both are, but also how am I to know which wouldn't be higher up?
Mm-hmm.
The distraction while I'm trying to talk is incredible. So I thought like there's a bit of damage limitation by putting them both higher.
That makes sense. Gita, you've given us our first sighting of Dylan and Daniela.
This one's really tough. Daniela can dance.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan's brother can dance and sing.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan makes a very good trader. I have no clue what he provides on a dance floor.
Fair.
Like, no clue. And I think the thing that's really hard, and like I know him because I watched Traders, and it was an excellent, like he was really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that he has enough of a fan base. He has a little bit of name recognition because he's from he has a famous sibling. But I don't, when I think about some of the people that are on this season, and this is, the common theme that we keep going back to, is I don't know how popular some of these people are.
Mm-hmm.
I know them. I know that my little silo of people that I hang out with in my real life know some of them, but I have no idea where that puts them in the voting public. And I'm worried with Dylan. One, we know nothing about his dance ability. We have no real concept of how good or bad he'll be. I think he'll be pretty, that hopefully for his sake, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, I'm worried that his ability to obtain votes might be limited because he's not like this big mega superstar. And I'm excited about that this season because it's a common trend throughout the front runners. So I think that we might actually have a test on who can dance this season, whereas last season turned into a little bit of a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Both with the judges and with like nationwide voting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interested to see if this is more of a dance competition. And it's just hard to judge someone on a dancing competition if you don't know whether they can dance or not.
Very fair. Right, let us move on to 4th place then. What do we have this time? Again, we've got 4 very different answers. So we'll just go left to right. For me, Jen and Yan, I think similarly to Whitney, I'm worried about vote dilution. I have put Jen higher because it feels like she is the more rootable one. But like I could very much see that when one of them goes, the other picks up all the voting pool and makes a bit of a late run. I think that's more likely to be Jen, but this is again very much playing defense and hoping not to lose or get too many points. Next, Cass, you've said Robert and Whitney.
Yeah, for me, this is more of like my personal, because like growing up, my first crush that I can remember was on Steve Irwin. And like as a kid, I was like, this guy loves animals. He seems kind. Again, I was less than 10 years old. I was little, but I think that Steve Irwin like left such a massive legacy for his kids.
Mm-hmm.
I do see a huge voting base being there for Robert, especially after the photo shoot that he did not that long ago that had all of the middle-aged mamas drooling over him,
Oh, okay.
which was completely inappropriate, but if you look it up, you'll understand why they were drooling. Um, but yeah, he's definitely starting to get name recognition. He looks a lot like his dad. Um, so I do think that he has potential, and I think with just how good of a person he is, like that whole family, like sainthood, all of them, like they just seem like such good people who are always, doing something to help animals and like conservation and things like that. So I do think that with all of that, if he has any dancing ability, like he is gonna shoot towards the front. So, but trust me when I say like that photo shoot, that is going to come up quite a bit because whoa.
Yeah. I mean, I did a search for it whilst you were speaking, and that is quite something. Let's
Yeah.
Dizzy, you've gone for Dylan and Daniela.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure. I thought that. I think a lot of it is similar to what Jeter said, where I kind of thought I thought he stands a good chance, but I also don't know enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I've ended up in with him as a front runner above 2 other front runners that could have diluted votes, but not quite enough to be top 3. Is
Mm-hmm.
what it's ended up becoming.
Okay.
But look, it's hard to know. It's hard to know when you don't have enough information.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And then Gita, you've gone for Lauren and Brandon.
Yeah, for me, it's more of the same. It's I think Lauren will find it especially hard early, with the fact that she was added so late, because some people were probably rehearsing with their partners, or at least if they knew they were going to be on the show, if not rehearsing with their partners, were doing workouts, getting in shape, preparing for the show. Obviously, Lauren's a performer, and will know how to prepare themselves for going out on a stage and performing. But it's tricky. I don't think Fifth Harmony has the name recognition that it once did. And I think of the people who have the name recognition from Fifth Harmony, it's unfortunately not really Lauren. Like, I know what's going on in the music world, and I didn't know the name. And I really had to do some digging. So it's another case of, I don't know who has votes. I know Brandon can dance. I'm assuming that Lauren can dance, having been a member of Fifth Harmony. And obviously will have rhythm.
Yeah.
But it's just hard for me to put someone any higher if you don't know what the voting situation is going to look like. And I'm not confident that Lauren will have votes. Maybe she will if she dances really well from the start of the season. You just don't know.
Fair enough. Right, let us move on to the bronze medal position. See who we have all put there. Okay, interesting. I mean, I, like Cass, have gone for Dylan and Daniela. So my logic is, with I think Scott and Robert are maybes on this level, but I do think that the dance ability has been very heavily weighted towards the females this season, and on top of that, it's an 8-6 split of women to men. So my logic is there are going to be some people who are inclined to vote for men, which means I think one of them needs to make it far. I think Dylan is the most likely from what I know, but could be very, very wrong. Cass, you've also said Dylan and Daniela. Any further thoughts?
Yeah. I think that Dylan is more well known than you might think. I think that he is, like, again, that Efron name, and he looks like Zach. And I think that that is going to do him very well. Like, again, he's very attractive. And he did just do Traders. He's coming off of a win. And I think that I do think that if he has an ability, which I would bet he does, if not, like, I would bet if anything too, like he talked about in an interview how one of his mom's dreams was for one of her kids to be on Dancing with the Stars. And so it wasn't gonna be Zach, so it's him. And I do think there's a good chance, like, yeah, I don't necessarily think he's gonna win, but I think of the men, I do think that he's the most likely to make it up into that top 3.
I concur. Dizzy, you've gone for Alex and Val.
I'll be honest, I kind of looked at my top 3, and she is who I know the least. Because, but I struggled. I didn't really know, so I thought I would just put her below, because like the top 3, I think it's between they 3, and I think I just instinctively put the person that I don't have the same kind of knowledge about in third.
It's
Like,
fair enough.
and the other two, which is, well, it's pretty obvious who I've got in the top two. You can figure it out. I also know for a fact they're going to have, well, one's a performer and one's a gymnast, and well, yeah.
GT, you've gone Jordan and Ezra.
Yeah. Couple thoughts here. I am interested. This could go wrong depending on how well Ezra can choreograph, because we didn't really get to see some of it. Just given, he went home so early. I do also think it's worth noting that Jordan Childs is 4'11". So some dances might get a little bit tricky with frame.
Okay.
Because I don't think Ezra's short. I don't think he's like exceedingly tall, but like frame could become an issue with their height difference.
Gotcha.
She's gonna have to wear really, really, really high heels. And that Jordan can perform because she's a gymnast and she knows how to do those things. And both of them, I think they're a really good fit for each other as far as personality and their fan bases online. And I think that people are really going to be rooting for both of them. But I do have a couple of worries, which is why I ended up landing with them on third. But I really hummed and hawed on my podium.
Fair enough. Right, moving on to second place now. Okay, we've got a pair of pairs. Cass, you've said Jordan and Ezra to come second.
Yeah, I think Jordan's gonna know how to dance. Just as a gymnast, that's part of that whole skill set. And I think she looks very excited to do this. So we'll see. I think she's gonna be a good dancer. I think she's gonna end up in the top three. I could be wrong about where she is, but like I do think that she's probably gonna go pretty far.
Gotcha. Dizzy, you've also put Jordan and Ezra second. Anything that hasn't been said already?
Yeah, it's a lot of similar reasons. I think there'll be a lot, like her being a gymnast, I suppose you could call it transferable skills. And I also think, like, I agree about the frame, and I agree about wearing, really high heels. But I also think with a bit of practice and her being a gymnast and the work she does in the beam, I think it would be doable in high heels. I think just with a bit of practice, it's not going to be a huge culture shock to her to have to do that.
Gotcha.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. And then Jeter and I have both gone for Alex and Val. Jeter, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this will be a big test on just how much online fame how far it can get you in this show. And I don't say that as I think I think Alex will be a very capable dancer. I do have my belief that Alex can dance. All of the clips that I've seen online, she looks like she's already learning very, very quickly from day one. And my hesitations are Alex is preposterously busy all the time, always, and she talks about it regularly. I doubt that she will just be in California rehearsing. She's going to be going here or going there, back and forth, back and forth. So rehearsal time might be a smidge limited, depending on how much she really wants to try and win this thing. And I am a little bit worried about mass appeal. I think my generation will know who Alex is. I think it helps that Val is universally loved by the slightly older crowd, because I know that the people who are watching who are parents, and that there's a lot of people who find Val incredibly attractive and will root for him no matter what. That's one of the things that he's known for, and I think that they're going to be able to use that to their advantage. I just, at a certain point, this is a dancing competition. in that final 3, and the difference between a 9 or a 10 here or there could be what settles it. So I went with someone who I thought had a little bit more musical background.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't think I really have very much to add. I agree. It's going to be a real test of where the show's voters are coming from. Are they online or are they older television viewers, or a mixture? Okay, so on to our winners. You might have worked them out if you're following along and realise who we haven't put, but let's reveal those. And yeah, we've got 3 different answers. I mean, start with mine and Dizzy's. Dizzy, Lauren, and Brandon, your winners.
I mean, I've already said that my top 3 I struggled to kind of put in an order.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of ummed and ahed on it and kind of thought about the different voting bases that all 3 of them have, because none of them are really coming from the same places, really. There's not going to be any, I don't feel like there's any kind of diluting going to go on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. To be honest, I also didn't know that she'd been like took in so late. I wasn't aware of that, but I kind of just thought, I mean, given she's a performer, she can obviously already dance, maybe not like the dancing you do in Dancing with the Stars, but like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to take too much work for her to get into the swing of things. I think maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. She wouldn't leave in that time. I mean, that would be surprising.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like she'll start to kind of really get into the swing of things. I mean, there's the element of I don't know how much of a voting pool being from Fifth Harmony is going to bring.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of me just thought she might end up being the best dancer
Okay.
by the end.
Yeah.
Just with momentum growing throughout. It's tough.
Sure. No, I think that's all reasonable. I mean, for me, yes, it's a very different dance background, but as Dizzy said, she's going to have been trained in choreography. She's going to, I would assume, have at least basic rhythm and movement. I think Brandon is a very good teacher. I think he's a decent choreographer. So I can kind of see that partnership going pretty far. I could be wrong, but I would expect her to make it a reasonable way. Then Cass, you have gone for Whitney and
Yes. This is actually one this is a pairing I'm incredibly excited about this because like I grew up watching Dancing with the Stars and Mark is one of the best choreographers they've ever had on the show. Like if you've seen what he's done with past contestants, like the fact that they brought him back and this is who they paired him with, that's a statement. That 100% is a statement about how well they expect them to do because they would not bring back somebody who was good enough to be a guest judge the previous season as a pro if they didn't think that his partner was going to do very well.
Great.
He's gifted and again, like I think he's gonna tie in a lot of the original Dancing with the Stars fan base. And I think with her fame is up and coming, I think that that's gonna tie in younger audiences as well. So I really feel pretty confident that they're gonna go very far. I don't like Mark very rarely places. Mark has won several times, so I don't see him placing very far in the back. I don't think they would have given a partner who would, just based on his caliber of dance. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes absolute sense. And then Jeter, you've gone for Scott and Riley to win.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys caught my Yelp when Dizzy put Scott and Riley in 11th, but that was my shock. This is one of the picks that I feel fairly confident about, actually. There's only one thing that will be a blockade to this, which is that Pentatonics are going on tour for the final 3 weeks of the show.
Oh, that's
And
ideal.
this was an intentional part of why Scott and Riley were paired, as opposed to Riley had been on record saying that she would love to be partnered with Robert as like an ideal dream celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
But because Scott's going to be on tour, he needed a partner that would be able to travel with him should he make it that far while he's touring.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to be rehearsing, wherever they're going for their show stops at the end of the season. I think it's like the final 3 weeks or so. But I think Scott's a professional enough that it won't be an issue, and I don't think Riley will have an issue with them having to travel while they rehearse. Like, I think both of them will get into business mode,
Okay.
and it'll be fine. It's my one concern, but I've pushed it away. I think the reason why I feel so confident is singers have sometimes struggled on Dancing with the Stars, but we've never had someone who did a cappella. And a cappella requires such a strong knowledge of like beat and music and rhythm in a way that just regular singing doesn't. Because of the way that these songs are built and the way that they've been harmonizing and created music for so long, he'll be so much more comfortable. He'll be leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else in terms of his understanding of how music works and how rhythm will flow within a dance. And from everything that I've seen on social media, he can dance. Like, this isn't just like we're learning how to dance. He already has it.
Okay.
I feel pretty confident that if they're not winning, I'd be floored if they don't make the finals.
Okay, perfect. So that concludes our placement predictions for this season. Now let's move on to the miscellaneous. Okay, so first up we have first 10. So this is predicting what week any judge will get their 10 paddle out for the first time. See what everybody has said. If my mouse behaves, there we go. Interesting. Cass, you have gone early. You've said that week 2 a 10 will come out.
yeah, I think we have strong enough answers this season that that's actually, I would be shocked not to see it happen in week 2, because I think you very rarely does Dancing with the Stars have this caliber of dancers in the celebrities. So yeah, would not be surprised to see that at all.
Okay. Gita, by contrast, you've gone the latest. You've said week 5.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of people who are capable, but I'm worried. The judging scale last year got a bunch of criticism, rightly so, in my opinion.
Yep.
So I'm thinking that they might try and rein it back in a little bit. I'm not expecting that we're going to have, strictly levels of judging, but I do think it'll be a little bit less free and wild. And yeah, I don't actually sit here and go, there's anyone that's like really, really ballroom trained that should get an early 10 in the way that, it happened last season.
Well, you say that. It didn't happen last season. There were no 10s came out until week 6 last season.
Well, half of one with Gene.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't count. But yeah, I think yeah, I think I agree that it's a stronger caliber. So I don't think it will be as late as week 6 this time, but we'll see. I will say that for that, if anybody had dared to put a name next to it, they could have doubled or halved their points, but nobody did. We'll see if they do for the first 30. This also applies to 40s if there's a guest judge. Basically, the first perfect score. I mean, Dizzy, you, along with myself and Jeter, have gone the latest, week 7. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, I'll bet I didn't bother to go back, but I kind of thought that maybe 3 weeks after somebody getting their first 10, 3 weeks later, them all getting a 10 from all the judges would feel like realistic progression. That's kind of where my thought process came with that, to be honest.
Okay. By contrast, Cass, you're sticking with there being a flurry of 10s early. You've gone week 5.
Again, like it's not that I think the judges will be free with it. I think that it's just that good of a cast. So
Okay. Next we move on to number of 30s. This is how many perfect scores will there be across the season. And let's have a look. Interesting. So despite thinking that there will be one earliest, Cass has gone lowest with how many she thinks there will be in total. You said 5. Is that because those kind of seem a little at odds with each other? Is that you like hedging your bets, or
that's me hedging my bets 100%. Like I don't know how many there'll be, but you know, if I'm wrong about how early it'll happen, I'll be closer on how many, and vice versa.
makes sense? We then have Jeter with 7. I said 9. Dizzy, you said the most with 10.
Yeah, like part of me thinks that you end up, well, last year anyway, you end up with a lot of perfect scores in the final. So say if you end up with 5 or 6 perfect scores in the final, that's already a lot, not including what happens before that.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my thought is with that. Although if the judges end up being less, interesting.
Drunk.
Yeah, that's another word. I don't know.
Marianne becomes Craig.
Yeah. Just I don't know. I think part of me just thinks that like between the semi-final and the final, there's going to be a lot probably perfect scores.
Yeah,
it's what it felt like last year.
I think that's reasonable. Let's move on to strongest style. So this is what style of dance will generate the most perfect scores. So let's see what everybody has put. Okay. Interesting. 4 different answers. I said freestyle because similar to Dizzy, my logic is that yes, I only have 4 or 5 chances for a perfect score because that's the only time they do freestyle, but it's right at the end and they do tend to be the most generous. So I'm feeling like if I could maybe get 3 out of 5 on the freestyles and everything else is a bit spread out, but we'll see. Cass, you've gone for contemporary.
Mostly because contemporary does not have as strict of rules as far as the movement that you can do. And it tends to be much more emotional dancing, which does tend to generate like higher scores with the judges. So that was very much like a calculated thought of what would. They don't do contemporary a ton, but when they do, it's usually very well received.
I concur. Dizzy, you've chosen salsa.
Yeah, I couldn't really think, so I kind of just went for what I enjoyed watching the most. To be honest,
Fair
I
enough.
didn't know. I really did not. I didn't have much to say
Okay,
about much to put into this one. I didn't know.
that's fair enough. You've appalled Cass so much she's left. No.
Good.
Jeter, you gave us a little salsa shimmy. Are you gonna give us a little paso doble whilst you explain your rationale?
No, I'm not getting on my knees, and I don't have a cape to do a bull wave. But I think Passo's part of what I was thinking about here is that I thought that if it's not going to be freestyle, it might be worth my mentioning a dance that has more strict rules, because if you pass the rules, you get a 10.
Mm-hmm.
And as opposed to, I suppose I could have looked at something similar like a Viennese waltz, but I think passos have a lot of energy, and are the sorts of things that can be really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And when harnessed well, can create some of the more memorable dances. And I think that especially on a dance competition, that the judging is a little bit more based on vibes than the actual criteria. If someone wanted to go with criteria, Paso has the criteria where you can give someone a 10. If you're just going off of the vibes, a Paso, you can also give it a high score.
Fair enough. I love that you and Cass have basically gone opposite, with one thinking rules helps and the other thinking no rules helps. We'll see if either's correct. The next two, so pulled first. This is who will be told that they are safe the most. I mean, I won't touch on these for too long because it's pretty much a crapshoot. I've said Lauren, Cass said Whitney, Dizzy said Jordan, Jeter still putting the partners in. Don't mind that. Scott and Kylie, and then called last. Exactly the same, but who will be the last to be revealed each week? We've got a Dylan, we've got two Alexes, we've got a Whitney and Mark. So Cass thinking Whitney will be called first the most. Jeter thinking last. Could be interesting. Could be neither. Next we have semi-elimination. I was dreading having to say that. But sometimes, for reasons that never get properly revealed, there is no elimination at the semi-final. They just suddenly go, everybody goes to the final, and, everyone cheers. So this is, do we think there will be a semi-elimination this season? Hopefully we haven't all said the same thing. Oh, we got 2 and 2. Perfect. Jeter, you're saying yes, there will be an elimination.
Yeah.
Any particular reason?
Because they didn't last season, and I think some people on social media were a little bit pissed, because there were some accusations that last season it was kind of like used to save, who was it that had a bad week? Steven and Riley. Their scores were like comfortably lower than everyone else, and there were some suggestions on like, oh, well, we know that they're popular, but otherwise they'd maybe go home, so we're going to bail them out. And I think that production will want to avoid that this year after having done it last year.
Okay, fair. Meanwhile, I said no, there won't be, on the basis that I think they'll want as many good dancers in the final as possible. So my suspicion is that they will just send everyone through to try and have the highest possible standard, but we'll see. Next, guest judge. Will there be a guest judge? And is anybody able to predict one? No, I mean we've all said yes and not put a name, so I don't think we need to go any further with this. There's no interesting names, just an agreement that yes, there will definitely be a guest judge. Absolutely nothing will change in the scoring from that question. Next, we have injuries. Will anybody leave the season with an injury? You can also put a name down here to affect your points. And let's have a look. I am the only person to have gone with putting a name down. So I my logic is I genuinely do believe that there are enough people with health issues in this season that it's likely that one of them pulls out. I think it's possibly Corey. I think it's possibly Scott. I think it's possibly Elaine. I've gone for Elaine because she literally had to quit her dancing career because of injuries, and I can't imagine how that's going to be easier 30 years later. So we'll see. I basically worked on the basis that I didn't think I would be losing out on too many points. So we'll give it a go.
You guys are crazy.
Cass and Dizzy have also said yes, there will be an injury, but with no name. Jeeta is very bemused. Jeeta's saying no injuries at all. Why are you so confident?
In 33 seasons, there have been a total of 12 injury withdrawals. I statistically love my odds of being the only person who has said no. With the knowledge that more often than not there are no injuries, because there's some seasons where there have been more than one. I feel pretty confident that this will be a non-factor.
I mean,
I feel pretty confident that you're going to lose points on this one, but we'll see.
I'm going to be honest. I think I misunderstood the question because I thought it meant you skip a week.
oh, okay.
Like
You
the
thought,
same as Strictly. That's what I thought we were asking.
yeah. I
You know how
don't.
we had that question in Strictly?
Yes, I don't know
Um,
what the mechanic is on Dancing with the Stars. I don't know if they're allowed to skip a week. I don't know
No.
what would Cass is saying no.
because the guy was saying yes with the not thinking, oh, maybe someone like Jan needs to take a week off.
Okay.
No.
But I've put the answer. I
I'm
can't really do anything
no,
about it.
I'm if you want to change it to no, I'm happy for you to change
I
it.
stick to my guns, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I mean,
Okay, fair enough. Okay, we'll move on to the bonus questions. So if we reveal those, okay, fine, interesting mix. Let's start with Jeeta. Jeeta, you have said that the first 10 will be for a female dancer. I'll be honest. For me, I think this is very likely.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are more women than men. The women in our scoring are considered to be the better dancers. There are more male judges. And if there's a male guest judge, like Gene Simmons, I just like I think this is one of the most likely bonus predictions we've had on any episode, to be honest. I would be shocked if this doesn't happen. I'm at like high offer 3 and 3 and low offer 2 and 1.
I agree. I think it's I think it's almost guaranteed.
Yeah. Dizzy?
when it ends up being Corey Feldman that gets the first 10, though, you know, Peter's got to be.
I
Please
mean,
no. I
yeah.
don't want to see him dancing that long.
But yeah,
I
sorry.
don't know what Carrie Ann might be into.
What Carrie Ann's into Corey. I wonder how long it will be before they make a choreography joke.
Oh
It's
dear.
not long at all.
They'll have to get it in early.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I think yeah, I think I agree. I'd be floored if that didn't happen.
Okay. Sojita,
Took
3-3.
everything in me not to do a "that's what she said" joke. They'll have to get it in early.
Good. Fine. Jita, 3-3 or 2-1.
Let's roll the dice. 3-3.
I mean,
think it's an interesting choice.
um, let's look at Dizzy's. Carrie Ann will not give it a 10 on the first dance of the finale, but every other dance will get a 10 from her. I mean, first of all, is there any specific logic? Like, is there a pattern of this happening that you notice?
No, but I just think she will be less drunk on the first dance, and then we'll get more drunk, and every other dance will get a 10
Excellent.
because she'll get more and more excited as it goes on. But to be fair, I would to be fair, it's maybe not necessarily completely true, but there is a general pattern where the first dance she scores just that ever so slightly lower, and then it goes up as it goes on.
Okay.
That does seem to be a trend, even if it's not 9, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. But I would say that that's a general trend.
Okay, I'm gonna look at the last 5 seasons just to see. Last season didn't happen. 10 for the first dance.
I don't mean just for the final. I mean just in all weeks generally. It can kind of feel like that.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm specifically trying to do some research to see if there's any logic to. She didn't give a 10 to the first dance the season before, but it wasn't the only time she didn't give a 10. So, let's try 31.
I'm not thinking that this is very likely, but I also think if it does happen, it's very pog.
Fair. It nearly happened in season 30. She didn't give a 10 to the first dance or the second dance, and then everything else got 10s. Let's check 30, see if anything there. Season 30, first and second dances didn't get 10s, and then everything else did. I think basically she must stay sober for the first 2 dances, and you've underestimated her ability to refrain for a whole second dance. Look,
I don't know, like of what, like obviously I didn't watch that intently last season with you, but I seen enough
yeah,
where like someone like Chandler would be dancing first and she'd get a considerably lower score than what she should have, then compared to the dancers later on in the show where you'd think, why in the world have they got a higher score than the first dance when the first dance was considerably better? And that was a general pattern what felt like every week.
yeah. I don't disagree. I think if you'd have said she wouldn't get a 10 on the first dance of the finale and left it there, I think I'd say reasonable chance. The fact
Yeah,
that
no,
she's not.
I know that I went for something very risky, but I thought, what fun is it without a bit of risk?
Yeah, I mean, I
And if it
don't.
ends up happening, then
Yeah, I mean, if it ends up happening, I feel like your quid's in, because I'm like, I think this is about a high of 12 and 12. I think it's very unlikely.
Yeah.
Lower offer, I'd say maybe like 6 and 4 as a lower offer.
I
That was for
agree.
me.
What
I
did
mean, I
you,
didn't.
would you say, Jeter?
I said that works for me.
Okay, so Dizzy, it's a high 12-12 or a low 6-4?
I think I'm going to go for the high one, basically because it's not like I have high expectations of my predictions here anyway.
Okay,
I have the least knowledge out of all of us, quite comfortably, so why not just go
Why
for
not?
it?
fair
That
enough.
big.
I mean, I respect it. I just, yeah, I hope it doesn't come back to bite you. Right, Cass.
I've won one. It's fine.
Yeah, true. Cass, you've gone. Someone who scores in the top 3 with the judges will end up in the bottom 2 with the voting public. Now, we specifically discussed this prior, and we've said that the cut-off point is final 7. It has to happen before they get down to 6 people left. Nonetheless, I still think I'd say it's reasonably likely. Like, I
Yeah.
don't. I'm trying to. For me. It's
Somewhere
whether.
between Dizzy and Jeter.
Yeah, for me, I think it's probably about 50-50 that happened. And 50-50, we always say, is a 5 and 5 for higher. So for me, probably looking at a 5 and 5, or I'd say 5 and 5 or 3 and 3 for me. Jeter, agree, disagree?
That seems about right. Yeah, I think this could happen. I wouldn't be surprised if this happened. You know, there's some people that we've spoken about specifically this season that we're not sure on the voting base,
Mm-hmm.
but equally,
Yeah.
you know, I think Cassie will also benefit if there's a bunch of people who get 27s or 26s, say. You know, if there's like a whole slew of people at final 7 where it's like tied for third, puts you in final 2, could totally see that happening. But I also think that the window in which that has to happen for you is small.
Yeah.
This has to happen within a week or two, realistically. So yeah, for that reason, I think 5 and 5, 3 and 3 makes sense to me.
Okay. Dizzy and I thought we were going to get agreement or disagreement from Monty for a minute, but he's vanished now. Do you agree with 5 and 5 and 3 and 3?
Monty agrees.
Monty agrees. Excellent. Okay, so Cass, high 5-5, low 3-3. What would you like to take for this one?
Let's go 5-5, just because I do think there's a decent likelihood of it happening.
Okay,
But if it doesn't, I probably deserve the higher penalty. So
fair enough. I have gone for the first max score will happen in a week with a guest judge. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yes, I'll let you guys discuss how you think that works out score wise.
It means
we
that you
know
need a
anything
guest
about-
judge like weeks 6 to 8.
yeah,
I think it's hard to specifically expect.
I think this is a pretty big risk.
Yeah, the reason why I don't think that this will happen is that I think similar to how it's kind of like Gene kind of broke an unspoken rule on like the first 10 should be coming from a judge and not a guest judge. In my mind, it kind of seems like the first 30 should be a 30 and not a 40. And I'm not sure that anyone will give a perfect score in addition with a guest judge. I think that this is like more likely than Dizzy's, but less likely than Cass's. And I'd
Yeah.
probably put it somewhere in the middle, like probably like fairly square in the middle of the two.
I think yeah, I agree.
I'm kind of
Yeah,
thinking like 8, 8, and like 6, 5.
yeah, I agree. I think
Dizzy, are you in agreement with them?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So between an 8, 8 and a 6, 5, I feel like if the difference in what I lose is only going to be 3 points, because I think it's,
may as well.
I might as well go for it. I don't think it makes a huge difference. So, yeah, I'll take the 8 and 8. Alrighty then. That concludes our Dancing with the Stars 2025 predictions episode. Obviously, we will review them probably around Christmas-ish, I would imagine. But yes, you can check in, follow along to find out how we're getting on. I never say this at the end of videos because I always forget, but please consider subscribing, clicking the like button, all that YouTube jazz. But yeah, Cass, Dizzy, Jeter, pleasure as always. Always a fun time trying to predict nonsense with you. But yes, we will be back very soon. I can't remember what the next episode is going to be, but there'll be more episodes soon. But until we see you again, remember to always be big mystics, not big mistakes. Bye!